This is the 10th year of this poll. Our first inaugural one was in 2016. Inspiration was Brexit and the rise of Trump. And the forces that shaped politics then are the same forces that shape politics today globally. There's a widespread belief that the system is broken, that parties and politicians no longer care about the average person. And, and there's a need for strong leaders, even if they have to break the rules, to take the country back. This is the rise of anti-establishment sentiment in politics. And we especially saw this play out last year in the numerous elections around the world in 2024.
Clifford, what does that populism mean in terms of two-party systems that have been in place in a lot of countries? We're talking about whether Elon Musk overnight could form another party. We're seeing here in the UK still the strength of reform. What does it mean as you put that together with what we know in terms of the news narrative?
Yeah, well, it takes on different forms and flavors across the world, across contexts. But overall, it's pressure on the establishment, pressure on existing parties. We can see in the United States, for instance, Donald Trump having a hostile takeover of the Republican Party. We can see in places like Brazil a rise of alternative candidates like and politicians like Bolsonaro. It takes on different forms, but overall, it's pressure on the existing system. And in some cases, the system phrase.
Let me ask you about attitudes toward migration, because this has been such a defining feature of so many elections around the world, from the U.S. to Germany to other parts of Europe. How are attitudes toward migration changing?
Well, it's extremely important, right? And we would make the argument that the debate about immigration is not about immigration. It's about identity. It's sort of a proxy or a canary in the coal mine when it comes to identity politics. And our own research shows it's the most important predictor of politics around the world, whether it be the United States or the UK or Brazil or Turkey or France or Indonesia or South Africa. It is what defines things. Now, once again, it takes on different flavors in different forms in different places. But we can understand our politics today based upon who should count in democracy and who should not. We obviously are seeing that play out today in Donald Trump and the administration's policies towards immigration and migration, and as well as in other countries.
Well, let me just take it a little bit further and highlight one of the findings in the survey. The question, we would like you to think of immigration and immigrants in general. How much do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Immigrants take jobs away. And you said the big variations in the U.S. becoming more mellow on this question. Europeans least likely to agree. Talk to us about that element specifically.
Well, there's this interesting contradiction, right? Overall, especially in the West, in the United States, and in the Western Hemisphere, in Europe, societies are becoming more tolerant of others, and that's the case when it comes to immigration and more specifically nativism, as we're measuring there. But it's increasingly becoming more important politically speaking. In other words, our parties are increasingly being defined by where they stand on the issue. So in the United States, as an example, we have Democrats becoming increasingly more tolerant towards immigrants over the course of the last few decades, whereas Republicans are less so. So this is a very much a polarizing issue. Even though maybe society is becoming more tolerant, the politics itself is becoming more tribal and polarized.